The Arcipelago Toscano National Park. The Tuscan archipelago is made up of a group of islands along the Tuscan coast. According to ancient legend, Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of beauty, who was born from the froth of the sea, was trying to reach the shore, where Eros, the Greek god of love, was waiting for her. In doing so, she broke her pearl necklace, and 7 of the pearls were lost in the Tyrrhenian Sea, just in front of the Tuscan coast. These 7 pearls became the islands of Elba, Giglio, Capraia, Montecristo, Pianosa, Giannutri and Gorgona. Together, these islands form a true protected paradise where nature remains uncontaminated. Even though the islands are quite close to each other, what is interesting is that they are each their own individual worlds. Guiding us on our discovery of the Tuscan archipelago will be a very unique animal, a fin whale, the 2nd largest animal in the world. As a matter of fact, this group of islands is an absolute paradise for cetaceans, and the fin whale comes back every year, right here, sometimes coming up close to the coastlines, but mostly staying in the deeper waters. In the summer, when the sea is full of plankton, which fin whales feed on, we can catch a glimpse of her and many other cetaceans as they swim between these wonderful islands. The largest of these islands is Elba. If you were to view this island from above, the shape would look just like a fish. It has quite an irregular outline because there are so many bays, coves and inlets. Most of the terrain here is hilly, and there is even a pretty big mountain called Monte Capanne, which is just over 1,000 metres tall. There are lots of walks you can do on the island of Elba, and it's great to explore on foot by following one of the many signed hiking paths. You can also discover the island by mountain bike, on horseback, and even underwater with scuba diving. There are some beautiful little towns and villages on this island, like Portoferraio, Marciana, Campo nell'Elba, Capoliveri and Porto Azzurro, to name just a few. Their historical town centres all have typical features, like the narrow streets in Marciana, the lively harbours in Porto Azzurro, or the cobblestones and pretty alleys in Poggio. Besides all the lovely beaches and bays around the island, something rather interesting to experience on Elba is the Butterfly Haven, or Santuario delle Farfalle, a 2-kilometre long pathway where, in late spring, you can see many butterflies. Some of them you will only find on the island of Elba, like the beautiful San Piero butterfly with its black, red and cream-coloured wings. Now, we can't travel as fast as a fin whale, but if we could, from the island of Elba, we would quickly be able to reach another of the islands of the archipelago, Giglio Island, l'Isola del Giglio. About 1,500 people live here, in the 3 residential areas of Giglio Castello, the site of an ancient fortress at the top of the island, Giglio Porto, the little town where the ferries arrive, and Giglio Campese, which opens onto the biggest beach of the island. Strolling around the island, you will immediately be able to smell rosemary, myrtle, and the distinctive licorice aroma of the curry plant. This plant now grows all over the terraced land, which in the past was covered in vineyards. Walking through the island in springtime, you can witness the wonderful spectacle of the flowering gorse with its brightly yellow flowers. If you're lucky, looking up at the sky, you may be able to spot the very rare Augean's gull, Gabbiano corso, gliding through the air or diving for fish. This seabird is the symbol of the park. Many species of migratory birds will come here to rest during their long journey. During the spring, you can even see birds of prey swirling overhead as they use the thermal currents of the island to gain height and glide northwards. You can also see hundreds of small birds feeding on spring or autumnal berries to restock their energy, ready for their long flights. If we could dive down into the gulfs with our friend the fin whale, we would see thousands of different shades of blue. The sea here is famous for its crystal clear waters, and in some spots you will find whole underwater meadows of a marine plant called Neptune grass or Posidonia. When there is lots of this seagrass, it usually means the water is very clear. Here between the swaying seaweed, if we're lucky, we may even find a seahorse. Taking a dive down alongside our fin whale, we plunge into the depths of the sea, and the high, rocky walls surrounding us are covered in bright blue sea sponges and red and yellow soft corals, where thousands of tiny fish are swimming in and out, looking for food. Our fin whale passed this way because she was heading out to the Ligurian Sea. If we could swim along next to her, we may even get to see some dolphins darting by before quickly reaching Capraia, the third island of the archipelago. Waiting for us here are just 300 inhabitants and only 2 small towns, one at the port and the other up near the fort of San Giorgio. On the island of Capraia, we can also expect some hilly walks. The terrain is pretty much all mountainous, with Monte Castello at the very top. This island is a true natural laboratory. On an area of land this small, there are as many as 650 plant species, of which almost 3% are only grown and found here. In Roman times, Capraia was home to magnificent villas, while over the course of the centuries that followed, it was often visited by fearsome Saracen and Turkish pirates. It wasn't until the 1500s that the Genoese of the Bank of St. George decided to build a large fortress here, named after St. George, and a series of coastal towers to make the island safer. For a certain period in history, for almost 100 years, this island was also an agricultural penal colony, meaning a place where certain criminals condemned to prison came to serve their sentence by farming the land and working on the island. Another of the archipelago's islands had a similar history, the island of Pianosa. Unlike the other mountainous islands that we have visited so far, Pianosa is completely flat, its highest point reaching only 29 metres above sea level. It's covered in wild grass, and on Pianosa there is a plant that you will only find here, called Limonio di Pianosa. It grows in small dark green clusters with lilac flowers. When walking around the island between the months of June and September, you will be able to smell sea fennel, which grows everywhere on the island. The seabed surrounding the island, which was inaccessible for a long time, even for fishermen, has preserved the natural wildlife here. Underwater Neptune grass meadows provide homes for many fish. And at only a few metres deep, you will be able to find grouper fish, lobster, gilt-head bream, red snapper and moray eels, a very interesting species with long, sharp teeth. On this tiny island, traces have been found from prehistoric and Neolithic eras, as well as from the Bronze Age, and just like on the island of Capraia, beautiful Roman villas could once be found here. Pianosa was also the place of exile, when someone is sent far away from their home, of a famous Roman general and statesman called Agrippa, the grandson of the Roman Emperor Augustus. There are also Christian catacombs on the island, which were underground cemeteries dug out by Christians in Roman times, and they are still very well preserved today. The island of Pianosa also has an agricultural penal colony, which then became a maximum security prison until 1998. People have only therefore been able to visit Pianosa since 1999. Now, heading through the blue sea and between the rocks rising from it, we come to the smallest of the islands, the island of Gorgona, with an area of only 2.23 square kilometres, the size of 305 football pitches. The main centre of the island is a small, brightly coloured village near the port, and further up, inland, there are 2 ancient fortresses, the Torre Vecchia Pisana and the Torre Nuova. You can only visit this island if you book in advance because there is an actual prison here, and guided tours are organised by the people who manage it. We still have a few more stops on our tour of the Archipelago Toscano, so let's follow our travelling fin whale to see where she takes us next. Here we are, the island of Monte Cristo. This was an important island for both Greeks and the Romans. The Greeks named it Artemisa, but the Romans called it Mons Jovis, Mount Jupiter, after the Roman god Jove. In the 5th century, Saint Mamiliano, a bishop, moved to the island and, according to island legend, he killed the dragon that lived there and founded a monastery. By the Middle Ages, the monastery of Saint Mamiliano had acquired such great wealth that it attracted the dreaded Turkish pirates. The monastery on Monte Cristo was raided by the famous pirate Barbarossa, Redbeard. Legend has it that the treasure gathered by the pirates was hidden inside one of the caves on the island itself. This story even inspired the very well-known book, The Count of Monte Cristo, by Alexandre Dumas, in which the lead character, Edmond Dantes, finds the much-dreamed-of treasure in a grotto. Today, the island is completely uninhabited, and you need to book in advance if you'd like to visit. We can't stop just yet. We're on our way to the beautiful island of Giannutri, shaped like a half moon. Its shores are all rugged cliffs, and it seems to just rise up out of the water. It used to be very difficult to get to the island because of the impenetrable cliffs, and even today, the only places for boats to dock are the bays of Cala Spalmatoio and Cala Maestra. Nature grows freely here, and if we explored the island, we would see some breathtaking scenery along the various paths that lead up towards the hills of Monte Mario and Poggio Capilrosso. In the summer, you can stay on the island, as some places offer rooms to sleep, but in the winter months, Giannutri is virtually deserted. Our friend the fin whale now needs to continue on her journey to find some good plankton for dinner, and we too need to say goodbye. We hope to see her again soon for another trip around the islands of the Arcipelago Toscano National Park. The Parks, A Listening Journey, is a project of 6 podcasts using accessible language created to share fun facts, stories, myths and legends, and provide information on the wildlife of 6 great protected areas of Tuscany, a journey for all.